Hospitals are filling up. Clinics are reporting spikes in strange respiratory symptoms. Children with high fevers. Elderly patients collapsing without warning. From the southern provinces of China to Hong Kong's packed emergency rooms, something is moving fast and quietly. You won't find it headlined in your morning news. You won't hear about lockdowns, emergency declarations, or public panic. Not yet, but if you look closely, you will see the signs. Official positivity rates have doubled in weeks. Airport screenings in the U.S. are quietly flagging incoming passengers. Wastewater data is climbing. And still, no one will name it for what it might become. This isn't just about one country. It's not even about one variant. It's about how the world reacts or fails to. Because whatever this is, it's already here. And the question no one wants to ask might soon become the one we can't escape. Is this the next wave the world refused to see coming? In this video, let's find out what's happening and explain what no one dares to. Something was shifting, but few noticed at first. The numbers were small, the changes quiet, almost unremarkable, until they weren't. By early May 2025, China's COVID-19 positivity rate had more than doubled from the previous month, jumping from 7.5% to 16.2%. And this time, the spread wasn't coming from the usual centers like Beijing or Wuhan. It was the southern economic heartlands like Guangdong, Guangxi, and Fujian that were lighting up the charts. What puzzled epidemiologists most was the demographic shift. This wasn't just hitting the elderly or the immunocompromised. Instead, the virus was spreading fastest among people aged 15 to 59, workers, students, and the backbone of China's economy. These aren't the demographics we typically associate with hospitalization, but they are the ones who move the most, gather the most, and interact the most. And that means they carry the virus further. Symptoms, too, were changing. The current strain isn't just producing cold-like fatigue. It's causing intense sore throats, high fevers, and respiratory complications that linger beyond the typical window. Health officials claim the situation remains controllable, but the speed and direction of this surge suggest something new, something less forgiving than the past. And it's not just about numbers anymore. It's about what happens when those numbers enter hospitals. What began as a statistical surge in the southern provinces quickly became a human crisis in Hong Kong. Pediatric wards, once quiet and half-empty, are now overflowing. In just 4 weeks, the positivity rate there jumped from 1.7% to 11.4%. But this time, it's not just the elderly. It's the children who are suffering. Doctors on the ground report waves of unvaccinated children under 5 arriving with high fevers, shortness of breath, and worsening symptoms. Hospital corridors are filled with anxious parents. Beds are being filled faster than they are being emptied. One pediatric specialist described the current situation bluntly. "This isn't the flu, this is déjà vu." Among adults, the trend is no better. Over 80% of severely ill patients are elderly, and nearly all of them have pre-existing conditions. Emergency departments have returned to triage systems, and whispers of temporary field units are circulating. And, interestingly, the signs are familiar. Calls to wear masks in crowded areas, health pass QR codes being quietly reintroduced in select districts, and public announcements urging people to avoid unnecessary travel. While no lockdowns have been declared, there's great tension in the air. Like the calm before a storm no one wants to name. So the question becomes, how did we get here so fast? The answer lies buried in the data and in the biology of the virus itself. The numbers don't lie, but they often hide the full story. Between March 31st and May 4th, China's CDC confirmed over 168,000 cases nationwide. Most were tied to a subvariant from the Omicron family, specifically the XDV lineage. Officially, no new mutations have emerged. Unofficially, the virus is changing faster than expected. What matters most now isn't just what strain is circulating, but who it's targeting and why. Analysts reviewing the data have observed one consistent trend: waning immunity. Booster campaigns across China have lost momentum. Elderly populations remain under-vaccinated. Children under 5, still lacking access to safe vaccine protocols, are defenseless. Meanwhile, environmental factors are amplifying the spread. Hot, humid, and densely packed southern provinces are ideal for viral transmission. Crowded malls, air-conditioned buses, and closed indoor schools have become silent accelerators. Chinese officials still insist this rise falls within expected seasonal patterns. But the spike in infection, the rise in hospitalizations, and the unusual demographic spread all suggest otherwise. While it's true that current strains haven't shown increased mortality, they are becoming more efficient, spreading faster, embedding deeper, and reaching populations previously considered less vulnerable. So while officials assure the public there's no cause for alarm, the virus seems to be crafting its next play. And it's doing it quietly, just like last time. While China's silent surge was unfolding across the Pacific, a quiet alarm was beginning to ring. At major international airports in the U.S., from California to Virginia to New York, new arrivals were testing positive for a variant that hadn't even made headlines yet. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. The strain, identified as NB.1.8.1, was genetically linked to China's rising infections. But it wasn't just coming from China. Travelers from Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, France, the Netherlands, and Spain had also been flagged. In a matter of weeks, the variant was no longer an import. It was circulating locally in several American states. By mid-May, community spread was confirmed in Ohio, Hawaii, and Washington state, suggesting containment had already failed before recognition even began. Preliminary sequencing data from the CDC described NB.1.8.1 as a descendant of the XDV lineage, highly transmissible but not necessarily more lethal. Still, that transmissibility matters. What made previous variants deadly wasn't just severity, it was scale. And with immunity waning across large swaths of the population, even a mild variant could once again stress health systems if infections spike rapidly. And timing only worsens the picture. The Northern Hemisphere is entering summer travel season, with millions on the move, border testing scaled down, and surveillance programs quietly defunded. In past waves, this is exactly how new variants slipped through the cracks. Slow at first, then everywhere at once. And the question arises, has the cycle already begun again? The United States isn't the only country noticing the shift. From Asia to Europe, the data reveals a ripple effect, one that follows a now familiar rhythm. In Taiwan, hospital admissions have surged by 78% within weeks. Singapore has reintroduced advisories for crowded indoor events. Japan is seeing record positivity in metro regions, and South Korea has quietly reactivated emergency response protocols in certain provinces. But the ripple doesn't stop there. In France and the Netherlands, testing centers that were scheduled to be decommissioned are now being reactivated. Health authorities in Germany have begun re-evaluating ventilation guidance in public schools and airports. But why the sudden reaction? Because this isn't just about infection rates. It's about blind spots. Across the world, testing capacity has fallen, reporting has thinned, and genomic surveillance has been deprioritized. What that means is simple. We are flying partially blind. A virologist on the FDA Vaccine Advisory Board put it bluntly, "What's circulating now is likely what we will be battling 3 months from now. We just don't have eyes on it anymore." The world isn't reacting slowly because it's calm. It's reacting slowly because it's underinformed. And that knowledge gap is where the virus gains ground. Now, from Beijing to Berlin, everyone wants the same answer. Is this another global wave? China's leading respiratory disease expert, Zhong Nanshan, insists it isn't. He claims the current rise will peak by June, citing seasonal data and known behavior patterns of the NB.1.81 variant. To him, the symptoms resemble the flu but come with more intense sore throat, longer fevers, but manageable in scale. But his optimism rests on two shaky pillars: trust and transparency. The same health system that downplayed early signals in 2020 is now asking the world to believe this wave is under control. Yet independent data from Hong Kong's Center for Health Protection shows hospitalization rates rising faster than at any point in the last year. And if Hong Kong, arguably more transparent than mainland China, is sounding alarms, it's hard to accept reassurances from the mainland at face value. Meanwhile, Western governments appear calm, but behind closed doors, the preparations are accelerating. The US and EU have resumed vaccine procurement negotiations. Hospitals are being advised to stockpile antivirals and oxygen supplies. Biotech firms are reworking booster formulas to include immunity coverage for XDV descendant strains. This isn't a public crisis yet, but the gears of pre-crisis response are turning. Quietly, urgently. Because the virus isn't waiting for press conferences. It's already moving. And this is not 2020. There are no sudden shutdowns, no global panic, no refrigerated trucks on the evening news. But maybe that's what makes this moment even more dangerous. Because what's spreading now doesn't trigger fear. It triggers fatigue. And fatigue is fertile ground for complacency. This wave is not loud. It doesn't dominate headlines. It doesn't come with border closures or screaming alerts. Instead, it seeps quietly through gaps in immunity, travels with tourists, hides behind milder symptoms, and scales upward in silence. That subtlety is its greatest strength. We no longer fear the virus. But should we? Because while the strain may not yet overwhelm our ICUs, it's testing something more fragile: our attention spans, our preparedness, our will to act before it's too late. What do you think? If this new variant is already circulating globally, why aren't governments being more transparent? What will happen if another wave hits, this time silently? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on whether pharmaceutical companies are racing to help or racing to profit. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, changing world order, and current affairs. Things you need to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.